Hernandez.
I'm Holly McClure.
And this is Faith on Film, where we try our best to bring you all the news that's happening in the world of faith and family entertainment. Holly, have you been able to keep warm?
I have. And if we're not bringing all the news, we're trying to bring some of the news.
We're trying to bring some of the news, but I don't know that with this weather, I don't know if I can, find out any news. I just want to jump in bed and warm up.
I tell you, this is, and for people who are seeing this a few weeks later, you won't even know what we're talking about. But
I know, but it's freezing.
It's been a cold wave coming through Texas, and it has really affected everyone in the state. And it's funny to me, coming from California, how people out here, it gets a little bit of sleet on the street, man, and things shut down. It's kind of funny to me. But anyway, I was like, okay. But what doesn't shut down is entertainment. And there's nothing better in bad weather than to be able to turn on a good movie or a TV show or something that you're hooked on watching and plug into it. And boy, what a great time to binge, right?
Yeah,
and we've got something that you can binge on, as a matter of fact, today we're going to talk about, and I hope that you do in just a few minutes. But excited to talk about a new filmmaker. Well, for some of you, he's new. He's really not new. He's been in the business for 20 years. He's won over 30 awards, and he has done a lot as far as production and filming. But the latest thing that he's done is a project that's right now, it's on Pureflix, and it's Guardians. And the Guardians is something very different. You're going to love talk. We're going to love talking about it. Chason Laing will be with us. But first, Isaac, let's watch a clip.
Let's do that.
Who are you?
You know all those prayers you've been saying? God hears all of those prayers. Sometimes he sends angels to make things right. Other times, he sends people like us.
What do you do?
I'm in the showing up business.
The showing up business.
I'm told it's like a calling, like I was chosen. But what if you never really wanted this?
You're not paying attention. We don't get dates. We don't get to go out. We don't get this normal stuff.
Well, maybe I want the normal stuff.
Well, can't have it.
Still having the same vision as them. The same vision.
Well, your visions aren't always right.
I'm pretty sure this one's important.
They're always important.
Yes.
You don't want this. This being chosen. It is no privilege. It is limitation.
Can you kill him?
I don't know. It's never been done.
You bring people into this and they'll get hurt. Guaranteed.
You walk in here, no idea what you are, no idea what you're dealing with.
I want out.
You were picked. I didn't choose you.
Is this the hand of a loving father?
No. You can't leave me like this.
No.
Callings require sacrifice.
Take it out.
Plan B.
What's plan A?
You.
Whoa, action-packed.
Yeah, you know what excites me about this, Holly, is that it's very inclusive now of the male demographic. Because, most Christian movies have always been kind of geared more towards the female demographic. But this one, with all that action, obviously is going to be attractive to us men.
Well, let's get the man on who created it and produced it. Chason Laing, hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to Faith on Film.
Okay.
There we go. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I watched this. First of all, I want to ask you, how'd you come up with Hello Coco Agency? How'd you come up with Hello Coco? What is that?
Well, so I have 6 kids, and believe it or not, my 5th child is my daughter. Her name is Colette, and we started nicknaming her, calling her Coco, really early on when she was born. And so it just was a thing I said around the house, and I decided, well, that's going to be what I name my company, and we'll go with that.
Did it make the other kids jealous that she didn't put their names into the company?
I don't think so. I think that they're all pretty cool with it, and they help with different things. They're all good.
They're all good. They like it. Well, this is exciting. Isaac, like you said, this is something guys can get into and appreciate, can't they?
Yeah, I definitely think it's definitely aimed at a different demographic than most of the Christian content that's being made, and it really was aimed a lot more toward teenagers and men for sure. We obviously don't want to get rid of the women folk. We want them too, but it definitely was a little bit aimed a little different than normal.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that there are a lot of women like Holly who really like the action stuff.
I do.
And then there's men like me who actually do like that more softer stuff. But I think this would be great that, there's something that really hasn't been seen too much in Christian movies, the whole action thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a little more challenging to do that just because in the Christian space, there's a fine line between violence and action, and like where is that line for some people. And so it's just a little more difficult to tread in these waters. And so we tried to strike a balance that kind of had that action orientation for men, but also, to keep it in a clean and somewhat family kind of oriented way. So it was definitely tricky.
Now, it's not just like a gangster film, or it's not just, against the good guys and bad guys. What is the premise? What are Guardians? What is this whole thing really about?
Well, it's really simple. I liked the idea of a group of normal people that God would send them on missions, for lack of a better word, and to go save people, help people, to do things, to kind of be his literal hands and go and do the things that are like the behind the scenes that you don't hear about. And I didn't want them to be angels, so they're not angels. But they're just normal guys that are sent out as a team. And it's kind of like the Genesis story of how they're being used and what sort of things that they do. And in the process, anytime you're doing things for God and you're pushing the evil back, then there's going to be ramifications. And so there's that aspect of the story as well.
Now, these guys didn't seem that normal to me, though, because I'm normal, and I don't think I could do the stuff that they did. But let me ask you a question now. Do they also possess some type of supernatural powers?
Well, I've always been really intrigued, like especially when you read in the Old Testament, you see sometimes that there are strange things that happen that we don't really know how to interpret. You can only guesstimate kind of what the Bible was talking about when these different things happen, like when God holds the sun in the sky for a long, long time. It's like, how did that happen? What does that mean? There's lots of things like that. So I wanted these guys to basically be able to have some sort of, I don't want to call them superpowers because that's giving them too much. They're not superpowers, but I feel like if they're doing something that they're supposed to be doing and they're obeying God, then God just does things to kind of open those doors for them. And that doesn't always look the most reality-based effect, and I just like the idea of being able to play in that realm where maybe they can do things that they might not otherwise be able to do just because God is making it happen.
Now, I noticed you had a really bad guy who is played by Willie Molina, who plays George Washington in Capernaum Studios, the Washington's Armor.
Right.
And he's George, but he also plays your bad guy. Now, does he have supernatural powers? Because it looked to me like people were trying to kill him, but he seemed pretty like, Teflon. Nothing really seemed to hurt him.
Yeah. He's definitely my epitome of maybe a more satanic or evil force in the world, one that definitely wants to stand in the way of the good guys. And yeah, he definitely, there's some room for interpretation about what he is, what he's capable of doing. And I don't quite answer all those questions in this first little 5 episodes. I'll leave that open. We'll find out more about that later on.
Later on, which means, has it been picked up? So do you have a later on?
Oh, well, I don't start a thing without planning a later on, because otherwise you're going to find yourself in a bad situation. So I don't have a confirmed we're definitely doing it yet. But then again, I didn't have a confirmed this season either. And then this happened. So I'm just going with, whatever God opens up next, we'll follow through.
Okay, so this is available currently on Pureflix, right?
Yes, it's exclusive on Pureflix. Just came out January 12th.
Okay. Now, I know that in the past, at least, that Pureflix has never accepted anything that has, for instance, somebody smoking or somebody drinking. And I do believe I did see that on this one. Are they changing sort of their tune on what they would put in on their platform?
Well, so I can't really speak for Pureflix. Now, there's no smoking in the film. There is a scene where there's 2 people having a date at a bar, but you don't actually see them drinking anything. Or actually, I think we put Coke in front of them, if I recall. But so we don't actually show. We try to tread that line. I wanted to show that they're out of date, and I wanted it to be a more bar-like environment. But yeah, I don't make the focus on what it is that they're drinking, and I don't really worry about it.
Because I mean, God forbid that it's real or like real life where people actually go to bars.
I just want to stick with the story and focus on the story, and I don't want to spend my time worrying about like what did he do, what was in that glass, was it, no, if we're talking about that, we've left the story completely. Exactly.
Okay, I want you to talk about being a filmmaker because you said, kind of in your bio, you were like, it kind of has been the bane of your existence, something you've really kind of not wanted to do, but you had to do it for filmmaking. And you're doing a lot of other creative things. You're very talented in some other areas. But, for people out there who are going, gosh, I have a concept for a show and I'd love to get it picked up. Is it easy having this idea and getting a film or series made?
No, it's not easy. There's no part of this road that I would ever say is easy. And I think it's one of those things for me that I love telling stories. I love putting the films together and aspects of movie making. I love these things. But at the same time, it is a very hard business. It does not have any guarantees really ever. And it has been very, very difficult to raise support to ever even make, much less anything. And so to do a series is tricky all by itself. And even these series, I would never say I've done anything that would not be considered ultra low budget stuff. And it's not because I don't want to, it's just because that's how hard it is to get, the resources, whether you work hard and save it up yourself, or maybe you get a few people that kind of sponsor. It's just really hard to get anything made, just period. And so on the one hand, I love it. And at the same time, there's been many discouraging days trying to figure out, are we ever going to make anything again? And that kind of thing. And I think that there's just a constant kind of pendulum swing between loving what you do and also just sometimes you want to phone it in and say, look, can I just go make some commercials and just be done with this whole thing? So it definitely swings.
Yeah. Now, I know you've done some things in the past. Did you have that feeling maybe when you were working on some of those? Like, am I ever going to be able to make another one? And yet here you are with this one?
If I'm honest, before Guardians, I had told my wife, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. Like, there's just no way to move forward in this. I've tried everything I can think of. And then randomly, it's a long story. I won't say it here, but basically when Pureflix got a hold of me about doing this show, I just prayed about it and I was like, okay, what we'll do is we'll just see, God, if you open the doors where I can actually maybe pull this off on an ultra low budget, then we'll do it. And then those things fell into place and we made the show. And now that the show is over, I'm already back to I don't know if I'll ever make anything again. I'm not going to say that that's not going to happen. I didn't believe that one would happen. So the fact that Guardians exist is already kind of a crazy thing. So for me, it's just if God wants it, if he opens the doors, then great. And otherwise, it's I have 6 kids. There's no time to be messing around with, stuff. I don't have fun projects anymore. I can't do that. Too many things to do. So we'll see what happens.
Holly, did he just say 6 kids?
He said he has 6 kids, and we're going to talk about that in a minute because how do you do anything with 6 kids? Okay, especially homeschooling 6 kids because they're all around, they're there. Wow.
Yeah.
But before that, I just real quickly want to say for people that are, for what you've done, you didn't just start off doing this series. You've won 30 awards, and you've done other work. Tell us some of the other work that you've done that people can.
I've done hundreds of films for churches that are usually small, 1 to 7 minute long things. Just so many of those. I did a children's series that's also on Pureflix, and it's been done for 5-6 years. It involves puppets and voices and fun things. I've done documentaries. I've done several features that are all low budget indie features. I did a series called Breakers, which is really where Guardians actually came from. If people want to find out more about that, they can just go to my Guardians page or Facebook and they can figure that out. But yeah, I did that whole series. And during COVID, I did a funny comedy feature because we had nothing better to do. The world was shut down. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I've made. But again, it's all because I love making stuff. It's not basically been the great money-making adventure that you would imagine, Hollywood making movies would be. It hasn't been that, but I can't help myself sometimes. I like telling stories and it just kind of happens.
Well, how do you support those 6 kids?
Oh man, I do a lot of work that's not glamorous stuff. It is not, you're doing commercials, you're doing ads, maybe you're taking photos of different people. I've had so many ridiculous amount of jobs at this point that I couldn't even tell you. Like I just whatever door opens that can pay the bills, we go and do that, and then in the meantime, we try to make films when we can.
Wow.
I want to ask. I don't want to take all the questions, Isaac. I know you want to ask something.
Go
Well,
right ahead.
I want to say, how is it? And I'll try to word this. How is it working with like a Pureflix? Because a lot of people are familiar with that name, Pureflix. Are you recommending to get anything seen? You have to get on a streaming entity like that. How hard is it to get your stuff picked up and seen if it's not through a Pureflix or not through? Because studios these days is real hard to get through. Netflix, have you tried Netflix? Let's just talk a little bit about that world for filmmakers out there thinking they like to get their projects done.
Yeah, well, I think it's twofold, and I would have to come at it from there's the kind of faith-based side of things, and so if we're talking on that level, I would say getting distribution is really easy if you don't want to make money. There's lots of Christian places that will take your content and be happy to stream it all over the world, and they'll do things, and you won't make a dime. And if you're wanting to go that route, and if you've had all your money donated up front so you can do that, that's awesome. Go for it. Lots of places to take your content. As far as Pureflix and the more maybe normal streamers like Netflix and stuff, that's a little bit of a different ball game. And I would say, Pureflix there's not anything I would say that's necessarily special about them that makes them not just any other streaming platform. They have the same similar kind of rules and feels. They have their corporate nature and the different things they're trying to do, their audience. They have a lot of stats and data that they're trying to drive their content. They already have a very specific audience that they already have, and they might want to expand that, but how they do that is kind of their strategy. But I would say it is not, again, it's not easy. I mean, I've had stuff on so many platforms, but it is not easy to get your stuff on there in a financial, where you're making money. It's just very extremely difficult. Yeah. And I feel like in the Christian realm, if you're not having that stamp from a major company like a Pureflix exclusive original, maybe, or if David White or Kevin Sorbo, maybe, or if you don't have content that you've moved away from the faith film, that you're more focused on a bigger platform that you can get picked up by Netflix. There's routes that you can take, but they don't really blend. Like if you're making something that's very faith-based, then you kind of are stuck with the Pureflix. You got to target your stuff that way. And there's not a lot, like that's why Isaac was saying earlier, there's not a lot of men content. Well, their platform is largely made up of women. Right. And so that's kind of driving a lot of those decisions. And so to make anything else is tricky. I mean, it just is. If you want to go the other, if you want to make action content that has faith stuff, but you go to Netflix, they might not be very interested in that. But if you say just action or something crazy, maybe they'll listen to you. So there's a lot of nuances that happen with these platforms that are very, it makes the filmmaker's life, it doesn't make it easy. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, you really have to dial it in and work deals. And fortunately for me, the Pureflix thing was an actual deal where, they came in at the beginning of it and then we made it and it's exclusive to them. And so that all worked really effectively. Now, long run for action content like this, like Guardians is, I don't know. We will have to see kind of how it does because it is exclusive on the platform. I can't share it anywhere else. So that the Pureflix audience will determine the success and if there's any more. And it wasn't really designed for the vast majority of their subscribers. So I'm hoping that there are a lot of women like Holly that like this kind of stuff and will get behind it.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to find it like anything else.
But that is changing a little bit. I mean, the reason it was so female oriented in the past was because movies and TV shows and stuff were not necessarily streamed. They were put on DVDs or on CDs, right. Actually on VHSs before and then on DVDs, but they were sold through Christian bookstores. And of course, the female is the one that would go to the Christian bookstores to, buy Bibles and books and movies. So they would gear it to them. But now that it's streaming and now, in essence, the young person or the man can on his own get in there and choose what to watch, I think it's slowly starting to shift, which is why I think we're seeing more of these edgier type of content.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping
and
so.
also Sony bought it too, and that division of the Christian film division of Sony. So they're probably putting more effort into it too, as far as marketing and stuff, and broadening the horizon as well.
Well, I'm very keen on watching everything that Pureflix does on their marketing, and I'm attached to all the different feeds and emails and all that stuff. So I'm constantly watching to see if there's a change in the mood, a change in what their promotion, a change in their, what ads they're posting on Facebook and so on. And so I'm watching that very closely to see if Pureflix is going to be, is it an option here another year from now, 5 years from now? Are they really going to push that way? Or are they just going to stay kind of in their wheelhouse of what they typically have done? So I'm definitely paying attention to it.
Yeah. Now we have 8 minutes left. So Holly, maybe you think we should maybe switch a little bit into his 6 kids and
I do.
homeschooling and the stuff that he does?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people would be interested that as a filmmaker and someone who's doing all that you're doing, you have 6 kids, you are coaching 3 soccer teams. Yeah. I mean, how do you get the hours in your day? Do you sleep at all, or is it all, scheduled in there?
There's definitely a fine balance. I'm not the best scheduler on the planet, but there's the obvious things that happen with practice and the different school elements that have to be done. Their co-ops and all the different things. And I just really, I grew up, I was homeschooled through high school. I went to public school for elementary school and then was homeschooled. But I just think that the public school education for me did not really go according to any kind of good plan. I don't have good memories of it. And so there was just a lot of things that I look back and really regret about just schooling in general. And so I really wanted to be able to homeschool, but I have to say fully it partnered with my wife. My wife is actually a certified teacher, and she can teach literally anything. She's certified in special ed and up to like high school chemistry.
Wow.
And all. So she's extremely smart. So it's like, why would I send them to school to do this with 40 other kids when like she's right there? Just ask mom, and she's got all that stuff taken care of for you. So it allows us a lot of flexibility with our schedules and things like that because we homeschool, but also we are kind of set up for that kind of thing. So it plays out well.
Wow. Now, I'm old enough to have had fairly good memories of school. But I tell you, I just seeing what's going on in schools now, I would have never, I don't think my parents would have ever sent me to public school.
Yeah, my parents probably would have pulled me earlier than they did. But again, school it wasn't a good fit for me. My attention, once I get it, I'm bored to death. And when I'm bored, I get into trouble. And then everybody wants to put me on pills, and it just goes real bad, real fast. So I just remember that, and I hated it all. So I was like, I'm not going to do that with my kids.
Did your kids get involved with your filmmaking, and did you have roles for them? Well, not in this last one, Guardian, so much,
Yeah.
but other films that you've done, projects?
Yeah, so they've all been in the shows in various points in the background or in little parts. In my feature COVID film, my daughter is in it with me. And then for Guardians, actually, both my older sons were both on the set every day. One was running slate and working with the AD. The other was basically helping the sound, was an assistant to sound and kind of learning that kind of thing. And long term, I don't really care if they want to become filmmakers or whatever, but I just think I wanted them to see what this job is, how it actually works. Why am I so tired when I get home from doing it? All that kind of stuff. And so they could get a real picture of what this world is. And it's a good experience for them, and they wanted to do it. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I really enjoyed about a Christian film festival that I've attended a few times called the Christian Worldview Film Festival is how many families as filmmakers were there. They all work together as filmmakers, and I thought that was the neatest thing.
Yeah, well, if you're a filmmaker, and it's pretty inevitable that somebody in your family is going to end up helping you one way or the other, because filmmaking is not a one-man show. So you have to just grab whoever you can near you and say, help me, and that's what happens.
Right, yeah.
What do you have coming up? Is the second Guardian, you said it's kind of planned, but is there another feature or something else you're working on, or what would you like to do?
Well, let's be honest, I'd like to make something that can pay some bills, and as simple as that. Right now I'm doing a lot of marketing things, and I've got my company doing stuff, and it's not always glamorous stuff, but it pays bills. I would love to make, more Guardians. I would love to make more feature films. I've got more spec scripts and things I know what to do with, but it's really just financial. It's can you find a way to not pay for this out of my own pocket? And Yeah, that's the game. And I'm not the best at finding those people that are just, I hear about them like these magical, mythical people that have like hundreds of $1,000s in their back pocket and they're looking for filmmakers. I've never met one of these people,
yeah, I know.
but I hear they exist somewhere. So maybe we'll run into them.
We hear this all the time. And this is the complaint for especially the Christian world and Christian filmmakers, because they're not tapped into the Hollywood, the bigger echelon people, budget people. And that's the biggest complaint is, where are these people finding this funding? I mean, and have 2 or 3 films lined up.
I have no idea. I can't figure it out.
Maybe one of our viewers, Holly, might be one of those guys that has money burning a hole in their pockets, and they might be interested in what you're doing, Chason. So I'll tell you what, right now, why don't you tell us how people can reach you? Maybe somebody's out there going, I got to fund this guy.
Oh, well, that would be amazing. Definitely look me up. But yeah, I mean, I'm easy to find. I'm on Facebook. You can look for Chason Laing on Facebook. My company is hellococo.agency, and that's how you find my company, and it's all there. You can also go to my website, chasonlaing.com. That's Chason, Chason, Laing, Laing.com, and you can contact me that way. Yeah, those are probably the best ways to do it. But all my information is out there, and you can, just Google my name, and I'm going to pop up there. So it's nice.
And for finding the Guardians, it's on Pureflix. It said Amazon and Tubi, but is it just Pureflix?
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, in my bio, it might say that I have other content that's on Amazon and Tubi and different things. But Guardians, this season's 5 episodes. It's bingeable. You can watch it in one night. It's on Pureflix right now. All the episodes are there. Go binge it. Share a little love my way. Tell somebody about it. Anybody at this point. I'm like, tell everybody you can. Just please go watch this show, because it really is like, and Pureflix isn't going to share that data with you, like how it's doing. So it's just word of mouth. It's everything I can do organically to say, please watch it, help me, and hopefully they call me back and say, can we do some more? So we'll see what happens.
Well, it's been so interesting talking with you, Chason. Thank you for coming on and sharing, and thank you for sharing Guardian with us, because I did binge all of the shows. I watched all of them, and it was very fascinating. So I'm one of those. I need to go put the subscribe and the like in there, because that's really important, isn't it? It
is. Please give it a rating. You have to do it on a computer. I don't know why I can't do it on a phone, but yeah, just leave a rating. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for spending the time to watch it.
Well, absolutely. And thank you for sharing with us. We hope to have you on again talking about your next project.
Thank you very much.
And wouldn't it be great, Holly, if our show could help find funding for folks like Chason?
I wish we could do that. That's what I
would just be fantastic.
Heart's desire.
Of course, it would also be good if we could find funders for this show, wouldn't it? I just had to throw that in.
Another topic, another subject.
Topic, yes.
Thanks, Chason, so much.
Thank you very much.
And God bless you and everything you're doing with your career and those wonderful children.
You too.
Wow, that was fun. Of course, learning that he has 6 kids. Wow, I got 3, and boy, was that ever a tough one.
He is a talented young man, and I hope you guys please support this movie. Go to Pureflix, and you can even sign in, and you can have I think it's a free month trial or something. So you could go in and just watch it for free, and then not have to do the full sign up for Pureflix and get out if you're not already a member or don't want to do that. So I know it's a way to get around it, but you can. So you can go watch. You can also watch all our shows by going to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com. /@FaithOnFilmTV. That's youtube.com /@FaithOnFilmTV. And you can watch all kinds of shows that we've done that we've put up on there. And also, if you want to write us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at FaithOnFilmTV. That's a lot of Faith on Film TV, I just said, Holly. There's a lot of it. I'm glad you said it, not me.
Yeah, I try to keep everything with just one name instead of, you can do this on this name and then this on this other name, because then it gets confusing. Well, Holly, we did it. Let's see if we can find a warm place to go hang out today and to stay away from this cold.
And binge some more.
Folks, we'll see you next week.